Welcome. I'm the Deadwood Jedi, and today we're going, I don't know, I guess you call it Saturday Casual. I'm doing an account takeover, actually, for FTF Daddy. Basically, he's been having a little trouble with his clan boss, not doing the kind of damage he wants to do. Every once in a while, he hits that 30 million mark in Ultimate Nightmare, but a lot of times he's in more of a 15 to 20 million range. So he's swaying between 4 key and 3 key range in Ultimate Nightmare. So we want to try and get him a consistent 3 key, and if we can, maybe even a 2 key composition. That's pretty difficult to do, even for me. I'm a great person when it comes to speeds. As far as maximizing damage, not always number one, but we're going to see what we can't do here, and I'm really excited because we're going to get to play around with a Krisk today. And if you know anything about Krisk, his kit is super fun when it comes to messing with speed. So I'm going to see if I can't do something a little more exotic for his team. We could run a slow Krisk comp, and that might be what we end up doing, but I'm going to hit the calculator, I'm going to see what I can't come up with, and then I'm going to come back to you guys. So I'm going to use some still pictures here because I took way too long trying to go over all these champions. I realized you don't need me to read what you can see with your own eyes. I'm not a big fan of that. I don't think you need to be either. He has a great haul. That's all we need to know. He also has a bunch of great champions. FTF Daddy has just a huge stable of champions, some really good ones. Obviously, the best one, don't want to bury the lead, Krisk, the Ageless, is phenomenal. It brings so much to the table. Decreased attack, decreased defense, ally protection, increased speed buff. He's going to be key to whatever we decide to do here. Plus, he's my favorite champion, so I had to use him. Then we had Longbeard, who I think is a awesome champion, can really up your damage a lot. I really wanted to use him in this composition. I definitely gave him a try. I looked at Rosin Scarhide, the Tower, Black Knight. All of those were great choices. So is Martyr. And I fiddled around a lot with the possibilities that we could have here with this team. Krisk obviously was going to be in it. The decreased defense, the weaken, not to mention the poisons. We were a little light on poisons. There was a Steel Skull in the kit. I did think about using her or him. It did a little bit from here to there, but went a different direction in the end. Also had Skull Crusher, who pairs beautifully with Krisk. You might ask, why Skull Crusher and not Martyr for that role? Well, it's because Krisk is already going to put up an increased defense buff, and Skull Crusher is going to help him sustain with the dual ally protection. Such a huge mitigator in this game. It's really being slept on. And then last, obviously, Alton. He is the best decrease attack champion in the game. There was no doubt in my mind that I was going to end up using Alton in this composition. So those were the 5 that I was looking at most closely. I gave them a shot. And, you know, why don't I talk a little bit about what we did? All right, we're back. It's been a few days as I've been working on this account. Really wanted to make sure I got it to where it needed to be. He had a really good team, FTF Daddy did. It just wasn't really as optimized as it could be. I saw the champions he had, and I'm thinking to myself, this is a 2-key Ultimate Nightmare team. Maybe not yet, but with these champs, as the gear starts getting better and you start putting in more damage, it should be a 2-key team. So I spent a few days on it, a lot of silver, a lot of gems. We got it to a spot where I'm happy with it, he's happy with it, and I just did some final tweaking with some of the champions to see if we can't actually break that 2-key threshold. If you remember, he was 1 King Nightmare and doing about 4 keys on Ultimate Nightmare, occasionally 3 keys. So we wanted to see if we can't make that 3-key a consistent run and get him approaching that 2-key Ultimate Nightmare kind of damage. I've done a couple runs before. We got pretty close to it. I want to see if we can't actually go over the edge today. I have everybody in lifesteal gear. We don't have any healers in this composition, and so to avoid any problems, we got him in lifesteal. You'll see that we have 5,800 defense on him, 49,000 health. That's a lot. The key is his ally protection. He needs to be tanky in order to protect all the allies. His accuracy is only 200. It's a little low, but we're not really relying on him to place any of the debuffs. We're relying on him to basically bridge the gap in case one of our debuffs falls off. So if for some reason one of our debuffs doesn't land, hopefully Krisk, his natural passive ability, will be able to put on an decreased defense or a attack break on the enemy. So I have him at 193. We do need him faster than the clan boss. That's the only requirement, really, speed-wise, in this whole composition. And you could see his crit rate was really low. That's something eventually you probably want to do, but his main focus is keeping everybody else alive. So if you have to sacrifice defense and HP to get that crit rate up, I probably wouldn't recommend it. Maybe if you're like, super end game and trying to break records or something. But I think for our purposes, that's not even worth an effort. We decided to bring Alton into the mix. He's the best decreased attack champion in the game. He hits like a truck and is super tanky, brings an awesome aura to the team. So we have him in our lead spot. Also lifesteal gear, as I said before. We got his health up to 38,000. We've got his defense to 4,500. Both of those are fantastic numbers. Could probably even lower the defense down a little bit if we wanted to. Crit rate is 94%. We're 6% shy of the ultimate goal, but that's really good. I'm happy with that. 222% crit damage is fantastic. And then the 225 accuracy is low. I really like to have my accuracy for Ultimate Nightmare around 250, but if you remember, I was talking about we have Krisk in the group. Between the two of them, we keep the attack break up the whole time, so I'm not too concerned by that. Next, we have Draco, who obviously is the best poisoner in the game. I know people love Frozen Banshee and Occult Brawler, but Draco just brings so much to the table that you really can't beat him. He is our only poisoner, so we're a little light in that department, but honestly, with what we're doing, it's going to work out just great for us. So obviously, lifesteal gear. I have his crit rate at 97% and his crit damage at 162. His accuracy is a little low. I would love to get that up to maybe 250 or so. 37,000 health, 4,000 defense. These are numbers we want to get to. So real quick, I do want to talk what I had Draco on just before this. I had him, he had 4,000 defense, but his health was only about 30,000. He was the first one dying. And I realized that's a problem. We need to get that health up just a little bit more so we can last a little bit longer, get those poisons going. I also had him crit damage gloves, which I think ultimately is where you'd want to get him to. You want that crit damage. You can see it's 162. We want that over 200, but I don't have a lot of attack on him. So the crit rate and the crit damage just isn't as important. He's just not going to do the kind of damage he can do. If I could get his attack up to like 3,000, 3,500, then we're going to start wanting to look at moving crit damage gloves into his build and really upping that the damage from his attacks. But right now, his main focus is getting poisons up. So I realized I made an adjustment there, and I think it's going to benefit us a lot. We'll see when we get into it. Now, that accuracy is going to be a bit of a problem. We already have a 6-star accuracy banner on him, so trying to fit more accuracy on this build is a little difficult. Obviously, we can do more in the Great Hall. That'll solve a lot of problems. Another thing that we can do is glyph a lot of this. We don't have a lot of glyphs available, but if we could glyph some more accuracy on, that could make up that difference as well. The next champion that we have, Skull Crusher here. Skull Crusher is going to be key because in combination with Krisk, we're going to have ally protection up pretty much the entire fight. And that's huge. Being able to share damage makes such a difference as far as the amount of damage your team takes. Like, it's one of those things you don't realize how important it is, and I'll go over a little bit more in depth in another video here, but ally protection is maybe the best defensive buff you can put on your team. And when you can share that ally protection, that makes it that much better. So just keep that in mind. If you can build it into your team, I definitely recommend doing that. We have him in lifesteal gear. I'm actually really happy with this build. Just over 100% crit rate, 160% crit damage. So he's hitting hard, almost like 80k a swing pretty much. 4,500 defense, 47,000 HP. He's going to be super tanky for us, and he's really going to help us survive all these AoE attacks. Kept his accuracy low, which is what you want. We do not want that heal reduction debuff going on. And his speed is the second lowest. It's going 146. Now, 146 speed is going to be important. We want Skull Crusher going, basically we want Skull Crusher going third in the order. He's going to put his counterattack up, and we'll be able to extend that. So I don't have to worry about when he goes as far as the counterattack goes. What we want to do is we want to direct the stun from the clan boss. And the clan boss loves to hit people that don't have counterattack up. So it's really important that we limit who doesn't have counterattack up, so we direct that stun from the clan boss. And then the last person in our group is the key to making this work. Grizzled Jarl. I did not see this coming, but I had a spark of inspiration, and lo and behold, it worked out. Grizzled Jarl is a really cool champion. We have him in lifesteal and accuracy gear. We can still roll this up a little bit here. And actually, I'll see if I can't finish. We don't have any silver left. I've been spending a whole bunch trying to get this team together. But if we roll that up, he's going to do even more damage. 43,000 health, probably a little bit on the high side, honestly, for the role that we have him in. 4,500 defense is fantastic. 144 speed, so he's the slowest on our team. And the thing with Grizzled Jarl, the reason why that's so important is his kit. He's got this ability here, Ancestral Shield. It blocks debuffs on all allies for 1 turn. Puts an increased defense buff too, which is important, but that blocking the debuff is huge. And when paired with Krisk is crucial. Because what's going to happen is he's going to put that block debuff before the affinity boss places their debuff. So that decreased accuracy, the decreased speed from the green affinity, the decreased attack from the red affinity or blue affinity, I don't even remember. Doesn't matter because we're going to block it. He's going to put that up right before the second AoE, and then Krisk is going to extend it so it lasts a second turn. And because of that, he's actually going to have that up when the stun comes as well. And the way I've set up this team, the stun is directed towards Grizzled Jarl. So Grizzled Jarl is going to tank the stun even though he's not our lead, and it's going to work out beautifully. The way the clan boss targets people is really interesting. I'll talk about that a little bit once we get in the run so you guys have an idea and a visual to kind of see how it goes. So that's the squad. Let's go ahead and jump in here. Here we go. I gotta take it off auto right away. That's the only thing. Okay, pressure's off. So let's go ahead and jump in. So the first thing we're gonna do, this slow team. Krisk is the only one going before the clan boss. So let's go ahead and fire that increased speed buff. Got that going. Perfect. Most of these skills aren't crucial. We're going to go and wait on Alton's A2. Just get that attack on. We're going to start off with some poisons. Actually, we're going to start off with Draco, his A1. And a lot of this the reason why I delay some of these skills is not for this first turn to maximize the damage, but so that the rest of the fight we're trying to maximize this damage as we go. So there it goes. Skull Crusher, 50k on that hit. Not too shabby. And here goes Grizzled Jarl. He's going to put up the block debuffs right now. And then Krisk is going to extend it. Look at that. Extends all those buffs. We're going to have those up almost the whole time. We're going to go ahead and let Alton use that A2 ability. Why not? Right there. Now we're going to go ahead and put up those poisons from Draco. And then A1 from Skull Crusher. 84k. Not too shabby. We're going to go ahead and see if we can't put another some more defense with the defense or the attack break. Didn't land. That's okay. It's not really crucial. And then Krisk is going to attack. All right. So that stun was directed right towards Alton. Perfectly fine. That's what we want. You notice nobody has a counterattack buff up. Everybody has an increased defense buff. Those are the 2 buffs that the clan boss focuses on. If somebody doesn't have those, that's who the clan boss is going to try and target with the stun. Since nobody had those on, he's then going to go in order of priority, in order of the placement in your team. That means your lead is going to get the stun first, the second champion you put in there next, and so on down the line. That's why you hit Alton right there. And that's why the turn order is so important to this composition. So Alton went. Now we'll put the decreased defense and weaken. The reason why I do it there after the stun is so that it's available for both counterattack hits. That way we get the most damage out of that as possible. All right, we're going to go and put up the counterattack and the ally protection, which is A1 from Grizzled Jarl. He's doing 85k a hit. He's a beast. And then Krisk is going to increase the speed on everybody. All right. And at this point, we can fully auto this composition. We are completely set. Everything is where it needs to be. So we're going to go ahead and let it just run. 113 damage from Alton. 100k from 100k from Skull Crusher. That's just impressive. So one of the things you'll notice that we have increase or a counterattack buff on almost everybody right now. The stun's about to come down. It just went off of Krisk, and it went off Grizzled Jarl. I was having some trouble with this composition because the clan boss was stunning Krisk, and I was like, why is this going on? And I realized I had Krisk in the team before I had Grizzled Jarl. He was in a higher placement in the team order, and so the clan boss was stunning him. I made one simple change. I just swapped those two, the position in the team, and it worked beautifully. All I had to do, just swap the position. So team order, the placement you put your champions in the lineup is a huge factor. So just make sure you understand that. One of the reasons why I have Grizzled Jarl taking that stun, the reason why I'm able to focus it too, Skull Crusher puts up the counterattack buff on all his teammates, and then Krisk extends that buff. That means it's up the entire time, basically, for champions that go before Skull Crusher. That, you know, he don't burn it on the first time he puts it up. Krisk is always going last in my composition, so Krisk is going to lose that buff before the stun. I have Grizzled Jarl going slower than Skull Crusher, so he also will lose that counterattack buff. But Alton and Draco are going faster than Skull Crusher. That means they're going to have it for the stun attack, which means the clan boss is going to avoid them. And because out of my 3 champions that won't have it up, Skull Crusher, Krisk, and Grizzled Jarl's highest in the team order, that's who the clan boss is going to stun. Makes a huge difference in your team. I mean, we were talking about doing 17 million damage, 20 million damage, and then to going wherever this run ends. I'm thinking north of 30 million in damage. So I think that's going to be a huge factor. Now, the previous time I ran this, Draco was dying right around turn 30 or so. So I'm really going to want to see if the change in giving him a little bit more health, giving him, if that's going to make a big difference as far as him sustaining and surviving a long time. This team can last forever because of the dual ally protection. It's such a big factor in surviving in this game. So we're going to go ahead and I'll get off the screen here. I'll let you guys watch the rest of this run, and then I'll come back and we can chat a little bit right at the end. So till then, let's see if I can't get myself off here. There we go. All right, guys. So that's not too shabby a run. 32 million damage. Considering that we're fighting an affinity boss that we started uh, doing right around 20 million, we bumped it up another 12. This is right in that 2 key range, and you can see there's still definitely room for improvement. We got 10 million out of Alton, we got 9.9 million out of Draco. Uh, that's just crazy good damage. Grizzled Jarl, we got 4 million out, and we could probably squeeze another million, a half million out of him just by finishing his gloves and getting those up to 16, level 16. So definitely room for improvement on this squad. I bet if we improve the accuracy on both Alton and Draco, we're gonna get more damage out of them. Another possibility, as far as running a team like this, if you have a Sepulchre Sentinel, you could use them instead of the Grizzled Jarl. You could use them instead of the Alton, and that would maybe free up another slot for, say, like a Skull Crusher, or like a Steel Skull, or a different Poisoner as well. Alton, of course, bringing 10 million damage. I don't know that we'd want to replace him, but just as a theory, you could take out Grizzled Jarl, Draco, and Alton. You could put in Sepulchre Sentinel. You could put in Rosin for your decreased defense and weaken, and then you could get yourself a Frozen Banshee for your poisons. That would be a very effective composition. I don't know that it would do more damage than this, but my guess is it'd be pretty comparable. Real quick, I do want to show the result I got from a previous run against the Void boss. Pretty impressive 2 key numbers right there. So not only was this composition able to get 32 million against Affinity, but we are able to get 35 against Void. I've been talking with FTF Daddy. I know he's happy with what we're doing right now. Hopefully this was educational and helpful for you guys. If you have a Krisk, try the Krisk Slow Tune. It is fantastic. I think you guys will be very happy with it. And it's an easy way to really up the effectiveness and damage of your team. So, till next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.